Ladies and gentlemen, this is no drill. Remy Ma appears to be in critical condition, and we are formally in emergency mode. The public is being asked to pray for her family. Even worse, the doctors aren't sugarcoating anything. The same woman who went out to bars with Nikki and who looked like a queen when she came out of prison is now in danger of dying. An insider nurse reportedly said, "We're doing everything we can, but it's not looking good." But what had happened to her, and why is this happening? Why is Papoose not addressing the media when he is spotted at the hospital with tears in his eyes and a folder clutched to his chest? And why is this being kept so quiet? There are other things than rumors. Talking about a leaked voice memo, a toxic betrayal, and a mysterious visitor who came to her hospital bed just before everything went wrong. You know, this isn't just a health problem. Ladies and gentlemen, something far more profound. I assure you that none of this was intended for you to hear. Let's go back 72 hours since what started out as a routine hospital checkup turned into one. One of the most terrifying celebrity health crises in recent memory. There were supposed to be no cameras, security, or journalists during Remy Ma's private meeting with her doctor. But by midnight, hospital staff. While we brought in more nurses, Papoose was seen pacing the lobby, and Ree's mother was crying outside the wing housing the intensive care unit. What the hell happened? Our source was asked by an unnamed EMT. Remy fainted minutes before her appointment with a private health specialist. They rushed to get her help because the EMT reported that she was not responsive and that her breathing was feeble. This was not just strain or fatigue, but something deeper and hidden. And the whisper started as she went through the back door to avoid being seen. Something no one close to her will talk about. Let's be honest, Remy Ma had already made headlines when she was released from prison and returned to the rap game battling with Nikki. An administrative team whistleblower revealed internal hospital communications that showed Minaj is not the Bronx queen she is on wax and proudly displays on red carpets. The doctors established a level 4 confinement policy, which is often reserved for patients who are in a serious state of medical decline or who may require extreme privacy due to media attention. Why? A nurse anonymously commented on a private healthcare website that the patient in room 14 was described as having flatlined for 42 seconds before being revived. Required full emergency assistance, Code Blue began to cause the patient's vitals to become unstable, and the family was told to prepare. The worst thing is that Remy's family was not aware that she was the patient in 14B until Clarissa Shields was the only one present when everything occurred, so why hours later? Yes, the same Clarissa who has gained greater attention due to her alleged. Clarissa had a stronger attachment with Papoose than she had with her boxing career. This is the same Clarissa who reportedly swung over to check on Remy and left minutes before things went south, according to insiders. Clarissa may be seen on camera leaving the hospital with a very upset look on her face, gripping her phone, and muttering something that the staff couldn't understand. According to one hospital janitor, she heard the words, "Why did Ree's phone vanish?" for over 2 hours before suddenly resurfacing spotless. What message was it for? Who was it for? There's a problem. Let's not keep in mind that all of this happened just a few days after witnesses reported seeing Clarissa arrive late and leave early at a private party in Harlem, where Remy and Papoose were spotted fighting fiercely. The apparent is now being questioned by fans. Was Ree's collapse indeed caused by a medical issue, or was it more likely the result of her being tired, preoccupied, and at one point needing to excuse herself for over 20 minutes to use the restroom? The last straw after weeks of mental stress, internal family pressure, and the suspected betrayal that has been seething behind the scenes because, according to rumors, a private letter was found in her personal suitcase, A letter was discovered that allegedly described months of emotional neglect, professional pressure, and the severe fear of being replaced. According to the letter, I've always been tenacious one, but I'm tired of maintaining order. If I pass away, know that I tried my hardest to ensure our safety, and that ladies and gentlemen sent chills our spines. We're praying for her. Papoose hasn't said much in the interim, posting a black square on Instagram with the caption, "Heavy lies the crown." Fans were going nuts when someone tweeted, "I knew something was off with Clarissa being around so much. Remy deserves peace, not pain. #pray for him." There were no updates or images included. Are you going to act like Remy didn't appear completely deranged on the most recent red carpet? Another TikTok user went viral after saying, "This has been building up." And guess what? They're right. This isn't an isolated incident. Rather, it's the result of months of preparation. The postponed shows how she suddenly lost weight, the enigmatic captions, and the rumors of her and Papoose fighting late at night all lead up to this moment, when Remy is unconscious, her family is terrified, and Clarissa. The silence is growing intolerably loud as the hospital refuses to answer any inquiries from the media. But the question is, what will happen now? When the hospital releases the information we will expose next. The missing file and the voice memo that no one wants you to hear will blow this story wide open. When the rumors started to circulate on blogs, the internet went crazy, and Remy was the last person to. Papoose uploaded a black square, and nothing, I mean nothing, could have prepared the world for what came next. A voice memo allegedly obtained from the hospital's internal communications system, and by unexpected, we mean career-ending. The woman in the memo, who is believed to be Remy, sounds exhausted, upset, and weak. They believe I. What was she talking about, according to individuals close to the hospital? I don't know, but I've seen the texts and talks between them. I'm not crazy. I'm just tired and can't take this anymore. Was taken while Remy, who was still alive at the time, was talking to her nurse about stress, sleeplessness, and feeling psychologically damaged during a private check-in. Nevertheless, it appears that a second file. In fact, a few hours later, a second file was leaked, allegedly containing a private conversation between Clarissa and an unidentified caller that had been inadvertently recorded on a hospital corridor intercom system. The voice said, "I'm not going to make it through this, and to be honest, I don't care anymore." She was the one who started this. The backlash was rapid, and Twitter swiftly turned into a battlefield. With hashtags like #PrayerForMe, Clores exposed #What Did Papoose Know? Fan sites altered their profile images to candles, and TikTok was inundated with fan alterations displaying Ray's greatest moments of her melancholy music, with remarks like, "She didn't deserve this." Nevertheless, as fans mourned, new theories surfaced since a close friend of the family members claimed that Papoose had been worried for weeks, saw something on Remy's phone, was aware of the shift in Remy and Clarissa's relationship, and counseled Remy to cut. The second surprise is that Papoose didn't remove the private investigator she allegedly hired. Yes, a wiretap-type investigator wearing sunglasses and a trench coat. The PI, whose name we won't disclose for legal reasons, purportedly discovered that Clarissa regularly made unrecorded visits to Remy's home when Papoose was out of town. In addition to, you do the math. Despite the fact that none of this has been officially confirmed, the suspicious screenshots that have been circulating online show Clarissa contacting a person named Pap at odd hours. Of course, it hasn't stopped fans from connecting. Let's look at this. Clarissa is there, Papoose is radio silent, 2 voice recordings leak. Remy mysteriously collapses, and now, A third party claims Papoose had already suspected something was amiss. And don't forget the deleted tweets from Clarissa's burner account that fans found using AI analysis. Said to have said, "She acts like she's untouchable, watch how quicks turn." According to TMZ, the screenshots lasted forever, but the tweet disappeared within minutes. A photo of Papoose leaving the hospital late at night with a document in his hand, his shoulders lowered, his sweatshirt pulled over his head, and his red eyes looking completely broken was left by someone. Everything really went south when headline Papoose left the intensive care unit crying with private files in hand, followed by the appearance of a GoFundMe that all Remy's long-term rehabilitation treatment. This wasn't started by us. After raising $40,000 in less than 6 hours, Papoose posted on Instagram, "Please don't donate to anything unless it comes directly from us." Someone started it, and who is profiting from her pain? There is a wild theory that a certain public relations company that specializes in controversy flipping is behind both There are leaks, a fake fundraiser, a name connected to that business, and an acquaintance who once worked with Clarissa's manager. But you can't make this up. Well, we can, but that's not the point. Fans are betraying each other in comment sections. No, Remy was always too good for them. Clarissa is fishy. You don't frequent your page. This is what happens when you don't keep your peace. Just to be clear, no news conferences have been held or formal charges have been filed as of yet. Papoose knew, but he just didn't know how to stop it. It happened at a friend's house around 1:00 a.m. Ree's cousin Lisa, who witnessed her 2007 sentencing, posted an enigmatic Instagram story about Clarissa's comments. But guess who said what? This isn't the first time Remy was. We now have a possible love triangle, an unconscious rap legend, a jumbled pile of voice leaks, enigmatic direct messages, and fans seeking the truth because you all deceived her this time. Since a hospital source has disclosed another piece of the puzzle, a sealed package that was taken to Remy's room with the marking, they are unaware that Papoose will change the course of events. The word confidential is the only word Calvin uses to describe Papoose. A medical insider claimed that the envelope contained a confidential medical evaluation of Remy's condition and how she got there, including assessments of her stress levels, a full blood study, and evidence of unprescription medicine. In fact, there were signs of sedatives that, if overdosed, might cause disorientation, fatigue, or even a coma. The hospital has not issued a statement, but a second nurse wrote on a closed Reddit thread that the test did not match her intake paperwork, suggesting that either someone replaced her or gave her something she was unaware of. Therapy before to her arrival, but now that it's not only a mystery, it might be criminal, Papu lost it. According to a family acquaintance, he called an urgent court hearing with them. He wanted the visitation and security films, as well as the drugs, thoroughly investigated, with a hospital chapel phone on speaker, lawyers on the line, and other family members within earshot. However, it is accurate to say that Clarissa was involved since, as you may remember, she was the last one to leave Remy's room before she fainted, and the released footage from the hallway shows that Clarissa was the only one to request private access to Remy's chart earlier that day, something that normally requires medical approval. So what was she doing? Clarissa's team said in a one-line statement that she arrived as nothing more than a friend, but fans weren't buying it since soon after that comment, a grainy, low-quality, but real video shows Clarissa and Remy arguing near them. When Remy's face gets pale and Clarissa, the nurse's station, looks away while obviously shaking, the timestamp breaks off just before her fall, and fan comments were divided. The internet was in a complete meltdown. Frantic and emotional, she tried to poison Remy Ma, but Remy was sinking. If this is the case, stop pointing the finger at Clarissa Papoose and destroy the whole thing. And just when things couldn't get much messier, a voice note came up this time, but it wasn't Remy, but Amber, Remy's old friend who is now a distant coworker and perhaps an enemy. Amber's voice is icy and calculating. If this doesn't work, it's not my responsibility. Papoose and his legal team dropped the bombshell after I helped Clarissa deliver the leverage she asked for, filing an application for temporary restraining orders that specifically targeted Amber. And Papoose also held a covered press conference outside the hospital, where only officials were allowed to speak, despite Clarissa and Clarissa accusing him of malicious interference during a medical emergency. Celebrities have started speaking up, and the message is more powerful than any headline or song. My wife is fighting for her life, and now we're fighting for the truth, and people are listening. Real ones don't fold when the pressure comes we ride, Joe said, and Cardi B reposted Remy's picture adding, "This don't feel right praying hard." It was enough that Nicki Minaj even liked the tweet that read, "Say what you want, but no woman deserves this." Over 12 million views in 8 hours. Meanwhile, the hospital started an internal audit, and the board confirmed that a number of staff members were being investigated for tampering with charts. And unwanted file access, Remy Ma has been placed in a secured wing with family visiting and is still under sedation. Sources claim he hasn't left the premises, and there are no cameras, phones, or even Clarissa Papoose. As he sleeps on the hospital sofa, eats cafeteria food, and records everything in a small black notebook, a nurse described him as calm-focused, as if he is building something. Because Papoose uploaded a video titled "Simply the Truth" to Remy's official YouTube page 2 days later. It featured him sitting next to her bed with her hand in his, with no fancy cut or introduction. Gone through a lot, but this almost shattered me. I will confront what they did and tried to do. If my wife suffered any harm, he determined the 3 words, "We're not done," in the video sparked a wave of support in the comment area, with fans sending prayers, lawyers offering pro bono help, and even former enemies reaching out. However, not everyone was happy since a few hours after the video was made public, Papoose received an encrypted email that contained the single statement, "You're not ready for what's next." What does that mean? A digital security expert who looked at the metadata found that the email was connected to a device that was previously connected to Amber. Clarissa's legal team is now reportedly getting ready for a full. Papoose isn't backing down, though, as he is now preparing to file a defamation lawsuit, claiming that the statements and voice notes in the leaks were unlawfully distributed, significantly altered, and edited by artificial intelligence. In The Day Everything Changed, the first episode of the documentary series, Remy opens her eyes for the first time in her life after the hospital gives her permission to tell her story. "What took place during my absence?" She whimpered, according to her cousin Lisa, and Papoose simply replied, "Everything." They're currently planning their next move, and it involves more than just recovering. It also entails being revealed, retaliating, and obtaining justice, because what started as a health scare is no longer referred to as a real court. It is now a full-fledged media war, and Papoose is fighting not only to save Remy's life, but also to overturn the institution that tried to damage her. The question now isn't only what happened to the files, real subpoenas, real identities, and the last chapter. It hasn't even started yet. If you believed it was over, you couldn't be more wrong. Who planned it? Remy Ma, and why did they put her life in danger to do it? Are Clarissa's shields merely enmeshed in the drama, or is there more to her role than she's disclosing? Did Amber act? What exactly was in those sealed files that Papoose is holding so close to? Did she act alone, or was she only a messenger for a much larger threat? Ladies and gentlemen, this is not just a scandal, it's a dangerous one. Template for betrayal, and worse, it may not be complete yet. If you believe Remy deserves justice, please leave a comment below if you think Papoose is. Don't be too quiet and tell us what you think. He has a lot of plans, and if you have your personal prediction for the future. In order for us to hear it, click the subscribe button. To turn on the bell, press the button right now, because the next chapter may disclose any. Right now, it feels like a gossip spill, where we don't just enumerate the catastrophes, we disclose the truth. Be vigilant.